You're listening to the Quantum Space Podcast, Innovating Trust, Episode 3, Europe and the Quantum Horizon. A deep dive into the quantum space's latest report titled Europe and the Quantum Horizon, Readiness, Risks, and Roadmaps for Europe's Quantum Future that was published in August 2025.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and give you the insights that matter. And today, we're tackling something where time is, well, it's not on our side. It's actively working against us. We're talking about quantum computing and cybersecurity in Europe. Every day, critical systems stay vulnerable. That's another day adversaries get to play harvest now, decrypt later. Seriously, they're scooping up encrypted data today, betting they can crack it open tomorrow with quantum machines. So our mission in this deep dive is pretty urgent. We need to explore Europe's strategic readiness. How prepared are the critical sectors for these quantum-enabled cyber threats? We'll try to illuminate, the technology, the geopolitics, all converging to give you some strategic clarity on Europe's path to a quantum-safe future. We've pulled insights from a pretty comprehensive intelligence briefing. It covers government ID systems, financial services, industrial and automation infrastructure, and military and defense assets.
Yeah, and let's be clear right from the start. This isn't some, far-off sci-fi possibility.
Yeah.
These risks, they're advancing. You can see the timelines in research labs and national roadmaps. The report we looked at puts it bluntly, really. The time to prepare was yesterday. The time to act is now.
That's a powerful opening. A bit unsettling, frankly.
Nay.
Okay, so when we talk about this quantum threat, let's unpack that. What exactly are cryptographically relevant quantum computers, CRQCs? How close are they to, actually breaking things?
Okay, think of it like this. Our current encryption, it's like a super complex lock, maybe billions of combinations. A normal computer tries them one by one. Slow. A CRQC, a cryptographically relevant quantum computer, it's like a master lock picker. It explores all the combinations, sort of, simultaneously, finds the right one incredibly fast. And it's not just one magic invention, right? It's hardware engineering, clever algorithms, error correction, all these things maturing together. Now, the real security headache comes down to two main quantum algorithms. First, there's Shor's algorithm. This one's the big one. It's basically a mathematical skeleton key. It finds the prime factors of huge numbers instantly. Now, that sounds abstract, I know, but those numbers, they're the foundation of our digital locks. RSA, DSA, ACC.
Stuff banks use.
Yes.
Secure websites.
Exactly, all of it. If Shor's becomes practical on a big enough quantum computer, those locks, they just shatter. Gone. Then you've got Grover's algorithm. Now, this one doesn't outright break encryption like Shor's. It's more like a super efficient search engine for secrets. It can find a hidden key, say, quadratically faster.
Quadratically. So, like, twice as fast.
Not exactly twice as fast. It gives a square root speedup. So if guessing your AES key takes 1,000,000 years now, Grover's cuts that down significantly. Maybe not half, but it reduces the effective key strength dramatically. For AES 256, it's like having AES 128.
Okay, still a big deal.
A very big deal. It doesn't break the lock, but it makes it much, much easier to pick. The key thing, though, is while these full-scale CRQCs aren't out there yet, their arrival is definitely a when, not if situation. Planners in Europe, they're generally thinking 10, 15 years. But, and this is important, there are outlier scenarios. Breakthroughs could happen. That window might collapse to maybe 5, 7 years.
5 to 7 years for something that shatters digital locks. That's wow. Especially when you bring in harvest now, decrypt later, HNDL. Because that flips the script, doesn't it? It makes quantum risk an immediate problem. Adversaries aren't waiting. They're grabbing encrypted data now, storing it up.
Exactly, building a massive backlog.
Planning to decrypt it all in bulk once they have a working CRQC. It makes you rethink data privacy timelines completely.
It absolutely does. And think about the targets for HNDL. We're talking high-value stuff. Diplomatic cables, long-term financial contracts, your personal ID data, sensitive industrial IP. The critical point here, especially for certain sectors, is that if data needs to be confidential for decades, think government IDs, defense logistics, medical records, this HNDL risk is already active. The clock is ticking on data encrypted today. And look, it's not just about breaking codes, important as that is. We also need to consider quantum sensing, quantum radar. These could completely undermine current military stealth navigation advantages. And then think about quantum-enhanced AI or optimization. Imagine adversaries accelerating cyber campaigns, finding weaknesses in critical infrastructure faster than we can possibly respond right now.
So it changes the whole attack surface, the speed, everything.
It really does. It redefines the entire offensive and defensive landscape.
Which naturally leads us straight to Europe's digital sovereignty. That's a huge push for the EU. How does this quantum threat intersect with that goal? What are the specific hurdles Europe faces in this quantum race?
Well, the hurdles are pretty significant. First off, dependency. Over 80% of Europe's digital infrastructure, cloud, chips, even basic crypto libraries relies on non-EU providers. That's a fundamental vulnerability.
80%. That's huge.
It is. Then there's the investment gap. The U.S. has massive private sector quantum investment. China has enormous state-driven programs. Europe is investing, don't get me wrong. The quantum flagship is $1 billion. The CHIPS Act is $43 billion. But it can be fragmented, different countries, different priorities.
Right.
And then there's the standards issue. If Europe doesn't actively lead in bodies like ETSI, ITU, ISO, it risks just having to adopt standards set elsewhere, becoming a standards taker, not a standards maker.
Which impacts competitiveness, autonomy.
Exactly. Long-term strategic implications.
Okay, so faced with these challenges, this ticking clock,
Yeah.
how is Europe fighting back? What's the plan? The policy framework? This is where it gets really interesting, right?
It is interesting, and it's a pretty robust, multi-layered approach they're taking.
Yeah.
You've got the Commission recommendation, EU 2241101, and this isn't just a gentle suggestion, it's a direct call to action. Member states need to get their public sector and critical infrastructure migrated to post-quantum cryptography, PQC, by 2030.
2030, that's ambitious.
Very. And it specifically calls out two baseline requirements. Crypto agility systems must be designed to swap encryption methods easily and active mitigation of that HNDL threat we talked about. Then there's the NIS2 directive from 2022. This broadens cybersecurity rules for essential services. It mandates state-of-the-art cryptography.
Which now clearly means PQC ready.
Precisely. And the Cyber Resilience Act, that targets connected devices. Think IoT. They need quantum-safe update capabilities by 2027.
So your smart fridge needs a quantum patch plan.
Basically, yes. And finally, DORAR, the Digital Operational Resilience Act for the financial sector. It doesn't explicitly say PQC, but it mandates robust ICT risk management, which absolutely points towards needing quantum-safe solutions.
Wow, okay. That's a complex web of directives, like a continent-wide strategic plan. But policies need funding. This sounds incredibly expensive. Where's the money coming from?
The money is significant, yeah. Europe is definitely putting capital behind this. That EU CHIPS Act, $43 billion between 2023 and 2030. A big chunk of that is focused on semiconductor capacity, including developing PQC-ready secure elements right here in Europe, building from the ground up.
Bart, less reliance on others.
Right. Then the quantum technologies flagship, that's $1 billion for R&D, QKD pilots, PQC algorithm work running until 2028. There's also Euro QCI, over €500 million to build a pan-European quantum key distribution network. Think ultra-secure communication backbone, that's running 2021 to 2030.
QKD.
Yeah.
It's different from PQC, right?
It is. PQC relies on math problems believed to be hard for quantum computers. QKD uses the laws of quantum physics itself to share keys securely. They can be complementary. And looking ahead, the Readiness 2030 Safe Loan Facility has $150 billion earmarked for dual-use civil and military quantum secure projects. That's 2025 to 2035. Huge potential there. But money isn't everything. Standardization is crucial. We need everyone singing from the same hymn sheet, basically. Right now, you've got NIST in the U.S. finalizing the core PQC algorithms. ETSI is working on QKD PQC standards for telecom. Like FGQT is looking at European compliance testing. ITU is trying to harmonize QKD globally, but there are risks, big ones. Different national priorities like France pushing hard on QKD, while Germany might be more focused on PQC software migration. If those diverge too much,
You get incompatible systems, fragmentation.
Exactly, a fragmented digital single market, and then you have vendors potentially pushing their own proprietary solutions, which locks customers in and kills interoperability.
So what does this all mean? It just hammers home how vital it is to harmonize these standards, doesn't it? Avoid that fragmentation that could seriously delay PQC adoption and leave Europe vulnerable. Okay, so we have the policies, the funding, the standards battles, but the real test is on the ground, sector by sector. How are different critical areas actually coping? Because the briefing suggests Europe's readiness is pretty uneven. Let's dive into that.
Definitely uneven. Let's start with government ID systems, passports, national ID cards, foundational stuff. They're currently rated at moderate readiness, about 3.5 out of 5. The problem, they heavily rely on RSA, ECC, the very things Shore's algorithm targets, so the vulnerabilities. Digital signature forgery. Imagine undetectable fake passports, key exchange exploits, letting attackers read ship-to-reader comms, and that long-term HNDL risk for stored biometrics, metadata.
And the global standards are lagging.
Yeah, that's a big one. ICAO, the body for international travel docs, still permits algorithms that aren't quantum resistant. Europe needs to push hard there. What's being done? Well, hardware guys like Thales, Infineon, NXP, they're developing crypto-agile chips, hybrid models. On the software side, PKI providers like Entrust, DigiCert, tech giants like Microsoft, IBM, and open source projects like Open Quantum Safe are working on PQC libraries and identity management updates. Recommendations: mandate crypto agility in all new systems, sync up national reissuance cycles, lead the charge at ICAO, and use hybrid crypto during the switchover. Okay, next, financial services. Readiness here is rated partial, maybe a 3 out of 5. This sector is, it's the bedrock of the economy and a massive cyber target. If the public key infrastructure fails here, think SWIFT transfers failing, blockchain assets compromised, secure online banking gone, systemic risk.
Nightmare say.
Absolutely. Vulnerabilities are everywhere. Interbank comms, the TLS securing your online banking session, blockchain signatures like ECDSA, and all that data stored for regulatory reasons, perfect HNDL fuel. The EU's DORA and NIS2 regulations are pushing them, though. And you are seeing action. Tier 1 banks are running pilots, fintechs are involved, cloud providers, Cloudflare, AWS, Google Cloud are offering PQC options. HSM vendors like Thales, Utimaco, and Trust are updating their secure hardware. But the challenges are real. Performance hits PQC often means larger keys, maybe slower transactions. Interoperability with legacy systems is a massive headache. And key standard bodies like ISO, PCI DSS are still catching up.
So what's the advice?
Treat PQC as a core strategic issue, not just IT. Mandate crypto agility in vendor contracts. Roll out hybrid crypto in phases, maybe customer-facing stuff first. Get sector-wide testing going, maybe via the ECB. And definitely run stress tests that include quantum breach scenarios. Okay, moving to a tougher area, industrial and automation systems. Readiness here is rated low, a 2 out of 5. This is manufacturing, energy grids, transport control, the operational backbone. And IT-OT convergence is making it more exposed.
And the big problem is life cycle.
Exactly. Industrial control systems, ICS equipment, they can last 15, 20, even 25 years. And the main standard, IEC 62443, it doesn't require quantum resilient crypto yet. So vulnerabilities installed today could be exploitable decades from now. Plus, you have legacy protocols never designed for this, supply chain risks, that IT-OT convergence increasing the attack surface. It's a perfect storm, almost. Now, NIS2 covers some of this. Senelec is looking at PQC. The CHIPS Act is helping fund secure chip design for industry. Companies like Siemens, ABB, Bosch are doing early research on crypto-agile controllers. But the challenge is,
Oh boy.
embedded devices often have limited resources. Ensuring interoperability without messing up sensitive real-time control systems is hard. And vendor lock-in is a major issue.
So the path forward.
Mandate PQC and standards updates like IEC 62443 urgently. Embed crypto agility in all new deployments. Try to sync OT and IT PQC migrations. Use hybrid models and test in safe environments first. Finally, military and defense. They're at early stage readiness. Maybe a 2.5 out of 5. Here, quantum is shifting from theory to actual operational planning. Lots of dual-use potential and risk. Vulnerabilities. Secure Communications Command and Control is prime Shore's territory, though QKD offers a potential countermeasure. Navigation and timing quantum sensors might help if GPS is denied, but adversaries could use them too. Data confidentiality in systems with very long life cycles. And the risk that civilian quantum R&D gets weaponized fast for offensive cyber ops. There's definitely focus here. EU initiatives like Readiness 2030, the SAFE Facility, PESCO's Quest project. NATO has its Diana Accelerator plans for a quantum skills academy.
So the will is there.
The strategic will, yes. But challenges remain. Deploying things like QKD reliably over mobile tactical networks, hard. Ensuring interoperability between coalition partners using different systems, critical but complex. And hardening the defense supply chain against quantum risks is vital. Recommendations. Treat quantum as absolutely core to defense readiness. Push hard for NATO-EU interoperability standards. Use hybrid security, maybe PQC for general stuff, QKD for truly mission-critical links. Invest massively in the quantum workforce. And really nail down supply chain security for contractors.
Okay, so pulling it all together, that comparison paints a really clear, if varied picture. Government ID is furthest ahead on hardware, a 3.5, but stuck on global standards. Finance is partially ready, a 3, doing good pilots, but uneven adoption is a weak link.
A big risk, yeah.
Military and defense, 2.5, has political momentum and money, but they're lagging in actually getting solutions deployed operationally. And industrial and automation.
Too.
The most exposed, really, because of those long life cycles and old protocols. Quantum vulnerability could linger there well into the 2030s if they don't act fast.
And remember, those scores are about implementation now, not just policy ambition. They show the execution gap. So if we boil it down, what are the overarching strategic must-dos for Europe? First, accelerate crypto inventory and risk mapping. You can't fix what you don't know you have. Use things like CBOMs, cryptographic bills of materials. Second, mandate crypto agility in all new procurement, hardware, software services, non-negotiable from, say, 2025 for critical tenders. Third, deploy hybrid cryptography during migration. You need to keep things working with partners internationally, especially in finance, travel. Can't just flip a switch. Fourth, establish sector-wide interoperability testbeds. Let vendors prove their PQC, QQKD solutions work together, especially for complex areas like defense and industrial systems. Fifth, integrate quantum threat scenarios into resilience exercises, red teaming, stress testing, like the ECB plans for finance from 2026. Make the threat real in planning. Sixth, align national and EU migration timelines. Avoid creating gaps where one country is secure, another isn't, especially for defense partners. Seventh, leverage funding for dual-use solutions. Get more bang for the buck, accelerate deployment for both civil and military needs. Eighth, build the quantum-safe workforce. This is huge. Training, university partnerships, the EU Skills Academy. Need the people.
The skills gap is real.
Absolutely. Ninth, harden supply chains. Require PQC readiness certification from vendors supplying crypto components. Make it binding in defense industrial contracts from 2025. And finally, 10th, maintain strategic flexibility beyond PQC. PQC is the vital next step, but it's not the end game. The quantum landscape will keep evolving. Europe needs to stay agile.
What an incredibly detailed picture. We've really covered the urgency, the plans, the gaps. We've seen how this accelerating quantum threat, especially HNDL, demands immediate action. Europe is moving with policies, investment, sector plans. But that readiness is definitely uneven. So as you, our listener, take all this in, what stands out most to you?
Yeah, and maybe leave you with this thought. We know the quantum clock is ticking. We see nations strategically positioning themselves for this cryptographic future. So how might Europe's really determined, multifaceted push for digital sovereignty in this quantum age, how might that not just secure its own infrastructure, but actually reshape the global balance of tech power and resilience for decades to come? Something to ponder.
That was Episode 3, Europe and the Quantum Horizon, in our ongoing podcast series, Innovating Trust. If you would like a digital copy of the report we have been speaking about in this episode, please visit us at www.thequantumspace.org, and you can download a copy today. This was Innovating Trust, a quantum space podcast, edited and produced by Crown Communications.